Welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I am Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do, and drop a comment. Erwin, what is it that we are reviewing?
Drop.
Yeah, by Christopher Landon, the director of... Have you seen any of his stuff?
No.
Happy Death Day?
No.
Happy Death Day 2?
No.
Freaky?
I've heard of that one, but no.
That's
I've heard that in the sheets, am I right?
I was gonna say, if that were the name of something, it'd be the name of my memoir. And
this guy was freaky. He was saying some things before we started recording, and I was like, what?
I said, yeah, the mic does in fact get muffled.
yes.
I just didn't answer that. Anyway, we're reviewing Drop, right?
Yes.
What is that about?
It's about a single mom who has had an abusive relationship in the past, and she goes on a date, and in this date she gets a bunch of airdrops of these photos that are from memes.
Yeah, which are awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, we were back in like 2013, 14.
I don't know, man. Some of them are like back then, yeah, but I still see quite a bit of them every day.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense. I see them more in comments, more so than just like people using that as like their actual...
But anyway, I'm gonna.
But yes, and it's like her trying to figure out like who's like airdropping these photos to her, and then just a bunch of roller coasters, and then like her kid is being threatened.
And as well as her sister.
Yeah, her sister, and then of course she is too. So, and she's trying to kill her date.
And the whole point is supposed to be about it's also definitely.
Talking about first date experiences
as well. That's the big thing I got out of this, because my personal favorite part of this movie is like the first hour of it for sure. But it's very much a throwback to like Hitchcock and Vertigo and like all of those types of movies, Rope, where it takes a lot of camera movement and one very specific situation.
Yes.
And that's the movie. And it's been a while since I've seen something like that in a theatrical way. But before we get into absolutely everything, just remember, everything we review will always have full spoilers. And with that being said, Erwin, with this movie, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
I would say I loved it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, just with the notion that there are some things in it that I had some issues with.
Yes.
But I thought this was really solid and near being really great. But I had a great time with it, for sure. But first initial question, I guess, what did you like about this so much?
What I liked about it was just like the premise first. Yeah. I guess it's kind of funny to see some of the things that were integrated during like our childhood. Yeah. And now being utilized in like movies or even like shows sometimes too. I always find that it's like it's such a cool concept to see, because now it's like whatever's going on right now, I don't know what's going to happen like down the road too, where someone would make a movie about it.
No, when you really think about it, this is a movie based off of the concept of something that Apple created who knows how long ago. I think 2011, 2012, who knows when it initially first became a thing. But it's so interesting to see a like horror type situation based off of something that's not old. And this is quite literally, people are like, they could never make that movie nowadays because people will get offended or blah, blah, blah. You quite literally could not have made this movie back like 20 years ago because the technology did not exist. And
that makes sense.
What would have existed back then? Like the MySpace horror movie? Like
I don't know, a lot of this movie that taught me too is like, I didn't know you need to be like a certain distance to airdrop, or have like, I don't know if that's true with like other apps that you can detect whether or not somebody's in like a certain radius of you or something. I was like,
that was really neat to me. And yes, Life 360 does that. I know that because I was looking at that app today because a student was showing me where their dad was.
They were on Life 360?
Yeah. And I learned in that app that you can also see when a person left, how long they've been there. Like you can see if they've been in their house for like an hour and 40 something minutes.
That's crazy.
And I was like, I don't know if I like that.
I don't like that.
I do think that's necessary for parents though. But
But once the kids move out or like they're grown adults, I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I'm sure some people do though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's listening, I don't know what that app is.
I'm gonna tell your mom about it.
Oh no. But outside of that though, I totally agree with you, just in the sense that it's weird. It's kind of trippy seeing something that, especially what I liked so much about this, and it was in the trailer, and it's going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound like coming out of my mouth, but the memes in this I found very funny, and I liked the integration of them specifically.
I wonder if the person that they find out,
we can say who it is. We can say who it is.
Well, the guy, who was it? The guy that was like, got confused, and it's like, he thought that the main lead, the lady,
was his date or something.
Was his date?
I felt
it wasn't.
Betrayed.
Yeah. And it was him the entire time. But I was thinking, was he making these like before he like sent them, or was these already like pre-made?
So I started kind of getting into the logic of the movie itself, because you kind of do have to give yourself over to it.
Do you know who betrayed me? Who? The maintenance guy from the behind.
Which guy? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Dude,
he seemed like a genuinely nice guy.
Are you kidding me? In the initial shot of him, he's like behind.
Dude, he knocked.
No,
that was very polite.
Go back.
Go back. Why did he knock at the door? That's the thing.
Watch it again. Yeah. He's just like staring, and then he knocks. Oh. But this is one of those movies where there's like a million red herrings. I was like, is that person? Is it that person? And then people give some glances for a little too long, as if she's not acting like a fucking weirdo the whole movie.
Yeah, well, everyone's like, what is happening?
Yeah. But with this though, the whole, like, I could not stop but think, I was like, this guy has like, he knows how to make a meme.
I know how to make a
It's like the car one. I busted out laughing where it's like you having the worst night of your life, and it's like the swerving one. And I was like, I'm sorry, that's really funny.
It's funny how it's just this guy who's old.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's where it
because old people don't know how to do that.
Well, because think about it though. Okay. Let's not think about it.
Can old people make a meme?
Now they can. I guess if they were just more so in the internet.
This dude would have fucking killed on Facebook, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, your dad would have been like, "Oh, I'm reposting that."
Like, repost, subscribe.
But it was just shocking because I didn't think it would be him, and I think that's why.
I think
they got me.
I think that was part of the whole thing, was like the intentional misdirect.
Yeah.
Was that this random ass old man does not know how to do that. And it's really good about misdirecting you that it's not him, but by his initial setup and this whole like the whole thing with the lady calling him a jerk or whatever.
I wonder why though.
He's probably just on his phone.
Yeah.
Like our main lead was for like over half this movie. I'm sorry, that drove me crazy. Like that was my biggest, like I had to like lend myself to it a little bit.
Yeah.
And
whoa, she has a kid.
I know, but I agree with
first date too.
I know, but I agree with Brandon Sklenar's character where he was like, you know what, it's very obvious to me that you have a kid waiting for you at home, and he just like got up and left, and then she pulls out the most insane like, I'm gonna kiss him to get him to stay.
Yeah, and he did.
So
goes to show how men are, huh?
Yeah, this guy with his camera and his nice linen shirt.
That guy's very handsome.
He's in that one movie with Blake Lively.
Yeah,
that came out last year.
I have not seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but apparently that's also about domestic abuse. So I don't. Yeah. I guess I don't know if he's being typecast or what it is, but we haven't even gotten to the positive negatives just because I got really distracted.
I think the other positive for me, I just love the way that it would utilize like a certain shot and like would write a description.
Yeah.
And into like some white space. So like it'd be her in the corner and then like on the top right.
Yeah.
It would like showcase like a sentence or something. They did that quite often and I really enjoyed that. What is that term called?
Oh, for like text?
Yeah, or like what is it called where like when it's like being shot that way? Is there like a term for it?
That is actually, it's kind of funny. We were talking about this because we're about to talk about a different movie later. Mr. Robot does that a lot. Not for text, but it uses a lot of, it's called liminal space. Liminal space is kind of where, let's say I am the director of photography and I want to put text in a certain area. I'm going to remove you from the situation. Let's say that I'm like right here and you're not. I would probably put the text, like let's say I checked my phone. I would probably put it right here, the text, like with the speech bubble and everything. And then probably like while I'm holding it, and it would use this direct space right here to showcase what it is that's being said.
Yeah.
And I thought that what was really smart about that was they also took a common complaint I see about text where you're like, I can't fucking read what it's saying.
Oh, especially when they would shoot at the actual phone itself. And I'm like, what?
And it's just the fact that they were able to use that and integrate it with the cinematography itself that I found kind of brilliant. And I think there are certain things in this movie that, like, in a sense, yes, it is just kind of like escapism, 95 minutes of just like, it's fun. But the things that push this further are, like, let's say Carry On that I talked about. You haven't seen it, but with Jason Bateman.
I thought it was like Carry On is like an airport or something. I was what about it?
That movie with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It is
Jason
similar.
Bateman's in that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It is. We've talked about this, and you said I spoiled it for you when I said that.
But... Oh, really? Huh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like, now I'm excited. I like Jason Bateman.
The separation.
Did you see that insurance commercial where he's Batman?
Yeah, it's awesome. With SZA? Yeah.
But as Catwoman?
Yeah. But the whole thing with the...
Dude, I was like, you thought it was SZA real fast.
No. But the whole thing with you distracted me.
Yeah. Dude, you're the one who brought her up.
And Kai Cenat too, I think.
Sure, you're not going to change the fact what just happened. All right, go ahead.
With this, though, like, what separates this movie from being really good and that movie being all right, because, let's face it, it's all right. Like, it was a good time, and I don't really remember.
Oh, Drop?
No.
Oh, Carry Out?
Carry On.
Oh,
is all right, and this movie's very good.
Oh.
What separates this is that movie's very functional. It's very, like, perfunctory in the sense of it's shot, in a pleasing enough manner, and it's just tense enough. This one, though, is like, what if we get insanely creative with what we choose to do and how we shoot it? What really struck me almost immediately, just based off of how this movie is shot, is a moment where the security cameras, while she comes on in the bathroom, each illuminate on each wall, and you can see each panel.
Yes.
And I was like, that's insane. I was like, you did not need to go to the length to do that.
Yeah. But
it's the simple fact that they did. And the whole intro where it's like, what is it? Drop. Yeah, I was gonna say trap. Where it's like all the objects and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt this whole movie felt very throwback to different, and not in like a campy 90s way, but just in this is what movies used to be like every week.
Yeah. It definitely utilized a lot of its time to actually, or like it took the time to like be creative in a lot of the shots that they were trying to do, especially for an hour and a half type of movie too.
Yeah. So
it definitely felt like it was one of the, what is it called too, where it's like a movie felt like the actual time itself.
Real time, which we'll also talk about with Warfare in a
later video.
Yeah.
Yes, I love those type of movies though. It makes me feel like I'm there with them, experiencing like what they're going through, especially with the character herself. It's just like what she's going through mentally.
And it's not just about the idea of the whole, like, the first dates can... I'm sure that... I think the tagline is, like, first dates can be killer or something like that, which is, like, that's the movie. But
that's the movie, guys.
One thing I really liked about this, and you don't have to get too personal if you don't want to, did you feel like the energy of first dates was captured...
Oh, very...
Like, well, in this. Especially
I think, yes.
A not good first date.
Yeah, I would say... I don't know about... none of my dates ended like that.
It's like, none of my dates have ended in murder, so like I'm kind of better off.
I think I'm good.
Than that lady.
I think in the beginning, yes, in terms of like that very awkward, not knowing what to do, hug,
yeah,
handshake.
When Mr. Old Man betrayed me, they nailed the like.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Not even just first dates, just like encountering somebody.
Just generally speaking, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if this person wants to handshake. My go-to. Unless it's like a professional setting, I always do a fist bump.
Oh, yeah. I love when I have to say goodbye to a person I've hung out with maybe 3 to 4 times, and I go for that, and then they're like, and I'm like...
No, my favorite thing is denying a hug.
You like denying a hug?
Yeah, and I go, no.
You're the opposite of a...
Yeah.
Where's my hug that person?
Yeah, because I'm like, that's weird.
I'm sorry, I'm curious about who you did that to.
Oh, I've done that to... I mean, I don't know, just like several people, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't deny your hug.
Oh.
Then again, you never really hug.
That's true.
Unless they ask.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
You do have to ask sometimes.
Yeah. I always ask too.
That's true. And sometimes I'm like, no.
Yeah. That's me.
And you're like, this is just like what the movie was. Dude. With the date itself, though, I've got to ask you, because you are gonna. This is one of those movies where, like, you are gonna put yourself in these characters' shoes.
Yes.
At what point would you leave this date? Like,
I think.
Let's say you're the guy in this situation. Yeah.
For sure. I think if she hasn't even eaten her food.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the fact that she's gone up several times to leave the table already. I would have been like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, I totally understand. Even after a kiss, I wouldn't even think I would get close enough for a kiss, too. Because I'm like, why would I kiss someone in the first date?
Yeah.
Even?
No, dude. We'll get to it.
Okay,
We'll get to it.
And so that's where I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And he stayed. And I was just like, dude, where were you thinking? Here or there?
Very, very, very horny man is what I got out of that. But... I mean,
thinking they were talking for 3 months.
Oh yeah, no. When they said this was a first date, where were they? That they're like, this dude sounded like he was very patient, and he was just like, oh no, just like whenever you're ready. And then at the end of it, he's like, this was the most attentive, just like attention awarding type person.
Yeah.
Where I don't think he did anything a step wrong.
Yeah.
Aside from, I guess he kept his like super secret mayor thing.
Like CIA, FBI life away. Oh, but I also like the fact that they mentioned this one thing or about because they used a dating app.
Yeah.
To meet, and he mentioned that how everyone try to put on like this facade, like this other identity, and like trying to come off so perfect.
Yeah.
And so like, and he picked her just because it's like it felt genuine and it felt like her.
Yeah,
I think I really like that topic that they.
That's what because that's what dating apps are, right? Like you experience so much of just people tailoring. This goes for Instagram too, where it's like people tailoring their lives. Like that's what they are, right? To that they want to be portrayed as,
or even like when we make shorts too, or anything like that, or like for TikTok. It's like we're trying to like edit a certain way, make it look a certain way. I mean,
don't get me wrong, like it's definitely our sense of humor. Like it makes us, right? But it's also you have to heavily edit yourself or things around what you say because it has to be streamlined to like a larger audience, which makes perfect sense to me when it comes to that being addressed. Also, and there are certain things that are written here in this movie that like obviously are probably stemming from some form of personal experience. Some like the people that are involved in this, I've read that the way that this was inspired was by I think Christopher Landon's wife getting random airdrops from someone.
Oh, I did hear. I read that.
But what?
I can imagine where I'm like, I just got a SpongeBob meme, and then you just go, I have an idea, like right away.
It's like Patrick with his ass out. I've got an idea.
Patrick from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie and fishnets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're like, I've got an idea. Like, dude, what are you?
I was like, dude, it's just this. Come on. Like,
I'll be back in half an hour.
What else did you like about the movie?
Let's see. I'm trying to think because this movie, for what it's worth, is very straightforward.
Yes.
And I gotta like address this, but then it's also gonna lead me into my negatives though.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, I thought this was so beautiful looking, and it just did not like need to go that hard, and it did, and that's definitely like my biggest credit to it. I thought the performance is really good.
Everyone did a good job.
Yeah, especially the main two. Obviously, I love the comedic relief waiter guy.
Oh yeah, he was funny.
Yeah, that was talking about Alice and Janney being tall, and I liked the environment as well because like people were saying that like if you were needing to say that something is nice the environment wise, then maybe you didn't like the movie that much. But I think the restaurant is like just where they're at here.
Yeah, and
so. I didn't know if this was a real place or not or anything like that, but it might be. I don't know. But I loved the specific type of tension in the first hour that navigates both between being tense in the sense of the date itself, because that's how first dates go, but then also being able to be tense just in the sense of the other side of it as well. Yeah. And having to have a performance where somebody's dealing with going back and forth between two different types of tension. My only thing about that whole thing is myself, when I would have left, what I would have been like the whole watch thing.
I don't think
I'm sorry.
Wait, him finding the watch, or
when she's like, "Oh, I can't find it," and she was in the bathroom for a solid, I feel like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, I would have said if it was my first date, and she goes, "I lost like a certain thing, an item. Let me go find it. Let me go take my step back." I mean, I would have done the same thing too, because he said he was going to try to find it with her, but of course, like I'm pretty sure we both would have done the same thing. It's like, "Oh yeah, let me help you find it."
Yeah, and she goes, "No.
You sit down. I'll go find it." It's like it's probably in the ladies' restroom. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, and then that long too. I'm just like, well, damn.
And I'm like, yeah, I kept wondering. Oh no, there's a different thing too. Mm-hmm. When she starts like, because how it looks to this character, she starts talking to some random other guy.
Oh, dude, that too. Yeah. I was just like, why is he talking to him for so long? But then again, it's like I wouldn't want to ask that too in the first date, because then it would just come off as like a certain way too.
The guy's literally the one though that's like waiting for his sister, and he's like, "You keep like coming over here." Yeah. And he's like, also he's like, I think he's looking at us. Yeah. And I didn't even know if he was or not, because they didn't pan to him looking or anything. And he's like, "How was your conversation?" They just like didn't address it again. Yeah. But it was just so many separate red flags where it was just me being like, I'm sorry. At a certain point, I think this man is just very horny, and he's willing to look past like.
Well, I mean, if he invested 3 months, like just like having a conversation with her. Yeah. So I can get why he's like, I'm gonna hold off as much as I can, just to see like what made her so special enough for me to talk to her for that long, to wait for a date. Yeah. Later on. So.
It made me wonder what they were talking about for 3 months. That yeah. Because I guess he was busy with, taking the mayor's pictures or whatever. Yeah. And
well, she kept pushing it back, or like pushing it off and everything because of her kid, so, and her not being ready.
Oh, right. And then, I mean, I can't put myself in that situation. I'm not like a single mom with a kid, but
yeah. And then like watching your husband die in front of you.
That was one of the I'm that kind of ties into our other side of things, just because I have a thought about that, but like, before I get to the negatives and everything, I still thought this was great. I just think it comes with some like weird issues that are kind of interesting to me, and they're entirely writing based, I think. But do you have anything else that you say is positive?
No. I think we talked about it all. I mean, yeah, it was beautifully made.
Yeah. But okay, you did say you loved it though. So
yeah, but I still have like issues with it.
Yeah, I do too. So what's your first negative?
My first negative for sure is, I don't know. I think it's just like the reveal, I would say. Yeah. I don't know. I think the concept is great. I just don't know if the reveal itself was enough or it wasn't as good as like the concept.
It was not, because I
just didn't like, it was just that. The fact that it was just some papers that like the mayor or something.
I almost kind of wish it was for nothing. Like I kind of wish that his motive was nothing. Like he was.
Yeah, it could have been like anything. Yeah. And I was like, that's better than what we got. Yeah. Type of thing. And I'm like, I don't know anything about like the mayor. Type of thing. Like what makes him so bad.
Yeah. Whenever he's like, and then the only thing we get a hint at is like, she's like, "Oh, is the mayor a good guy?" He's like, "He's a good guy," and you're like later, he lied.
No, he's not a good guy.
Yeah. But I had the same exact problem where I was just like, I don't feel like I needed. I heard some people say that the third act gets crazy. The whole like thing about her like flying out the window, I'm fine with that. Like that's fun. It's creative. It felt very much in tone with the movie. Yeah. What I wasn't so big on was what you said. It was getting there. It was like,
dude, and then also him, the old guy, like pulling out a little knife. And stabbing the waitress. I was like, what did he... I was like, whoa. I was like, does he just know what to do type of thing? Like, fight-wise?
I mean, maybe. I don't know his life. Yeah, I know that he's...
I don't know. All I know... Like that.
What I do know is he definitely has a profile on Meme Maker. And he has and he's got a knife in his pocket or whatever. And he's, like, really good at being like, I wouldn't do that. And I love movies like that, though. Yeah. Like, a concept like this can carry you so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Because a movie can be so whatever, but if it's that, unfortunately for me, it's kind of like some people get off on not like a horny way, but like I don't jack off to 127 hours, but like people love that kind of thing where it's like
you jerk off 127 hours
for that long, dude.
It's just edging.
Do you know that Arsenal fans are called Gooners? That's a soccer team. But
whoa! You can't just skip that. What do you mean?
I was reading something about Anne Hathaway being it said an article that said Anne Hathaway is a gooner, and I was like, what? And then
I would read that too.
But what it means is that an Arsenal fan for soccer, their team name, they're like their fans are called Gooners, which is why everybody's like, can we please change our name? Like, nope.
That's good.
And she's a fan of Arsenal, but that's my extent of knowledge about sports.
I bet when the author found out about Anne Hathaway loving Arsenal and then the Arsenal being called Gooners,
is his writing this fire? Writing with the pen on fire. But outside of this, I'll bring up my other issue because you brought up my first one.
Yeah.
I don't quite get how domestic violence really ties in as a theme here. It starts off at the beginning. I'm not saying like don't make movies about that. I'm not saying that can't be a core theme. What I'm saying is I don't get it. Like I don't get what it was they were trying to elaborate on.
I'm going to cut it where it's like I don't get domestic violence.
Don't hit your wife. But that was my whole issue. I was just like the beginning kind of set something up that I found interesting. And then it only echoes visually in the sense that he kicks her in the same way that she gets kicked by him at the beginning. And I get that she's like scarred by it and that she's like a therapist or something for them.
Yes.
But it didn't take it beyond that. It's not like, I don't know. It just didn't feel built on at all for me.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's because like a negative for me too from that was just the fact of like just characters. Yeah. I think what drove this movie was more so like just like what we talked about, the concept and not the characters as much, just because of the lack of time that we had with them, because we only got brief like moments like that of her just about her past and basically how her past just kind of like enabled more so of her like triggering her of like what was going on based on like her date and like what was happening during her date. So like that's where she had like this feeling of overcoming that issue, but it wasn't enough because finally like we actually learned more about like what happened in her past, but it just didn't feel like there was much follow through of like understanding more so like how that particular event would carry on to like the event that's happening now, because it's like two completely different events in a way.
I just didn't see how that was like character growth for her or how it overall affected the narrative really, just because I get that a character has to get from one place to another by the end of it. Yeah. But
because you could argue getting rid of those scenes being showcased like the husband and everything in the past, you get rid of it and it would still act out the same way.
Kind of the same movie. Yeah. Like literally you could go as far as her saying they're not all like whatever his name was. Yeah. And we already get it. Like we already understand. We didn't need to be shown that really. Yeah. And
it's like she could just mention like, oh, my husband abused me. Yeah. And it's like we would have understood already.
Also, like, she does kind of say that on a first date. And I'm not like about to say don't like, you know, say stuff like that on a first date. But I thought that was kind of a crazy thing to drop. And, but nice. But I don't know. But I feel like I kind of didn't anticipate that we'd have more negatives than I thought we would have, because I still thought this was like great.
Yeah. But, I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Overall, do you have any other negative?
No.
This was one of our...
It was really short, this movie. But like the past couple of movies have been really short, so...
That's true. Oh, I thought this also had a weird tonal balance sometimes. The ending didn't fully stick the landing for me, because I thought that it was kind of weird.
I didn't really... Like their romance with one another wasn't as strong. Like their chemistry, I would say. Yeah. It wasn't as strong as I would want it to be. It felt like if they had more time with one another just talking... and like finding that connection that they had.
They spend the whole time super awkward. Yes. And I like that about it. Also, I don't like how he asked her, like, so what do you think of the menu? She's like, whatever you want. that's a red flag to me. But
whatever you want. It's like, you don't know?
Because she was on her phone and she was like, oh, do you want the duck? She's like, yeah. And it's like rude. But I mean, I know why she's doing that, but that's rude. And
dude. Has that ever happened to you? Oh, okay. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like, have you ever had like, what's your worst like first date experience?
When someone, where was I? we were at like an ice cream thing or something.
Okay.
And she was on. No, she was on her phone, but I'm the one that blanked and just completely forgot like everything that was said to me. And
That's funny. I have moments like that too.
And I was like, so where are you from? And she was like, I said that I'm from here. I was like, my bad. I was on the other end of that.
That was good.
But yeah,
I think what's common for me when it comes to like bad first dates, I would say it would have to be. I don't think like being physical with one another is good.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm fine with
like,
just
right,
like saying. Not even there. Like I'm not gonna do that either.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's just more so like talking. For sure, no kissing. I don't think kissing right away on the first date is like a good idea.
Interesting.
And then hugging's fine, I guess. But I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to get touched.
Erwin doesn't want to hug it out. He wants to thug it out. Is what he's saying.
Yeah. I want to
yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, I'm assuming that...
I only say that because it's like most of my first date experiences have always been like... At least like the last year, it was... Also like, why didn't you try to like do something?
Yeah.
Like make a move? Yeah, they would bring it up. And I just go, why?
Like,
I was like, I just met you.
Do I love you? Do I care for you?
Not like that. It's just more so like, why didn't you lean in?
Oh.
And I'm like... Why? I don't think kissing someone right away is like a good idea.
Guys, sound off in the comments below.
Let us know down below. What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think?
Drop a comment down below, please. Overall, I just said it like again. Okay. I've been saying that. Overall, what'd you think?
Thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah. What's your score?
A 4 out of 5.
I am also giving this a 4 out of 5. This was a really good time. Oh, I want to mention actually I want to mention really quick, just because I have a first-hand conversation with this. My girlfriend hated this, by the way. She said that...
Why?
She thought that it was... The parts that you and I liked were like her least favorite. She didn't like how awkward and tense it all was. And she thought that they didn't have any chemistry at all with each other.
Yeah.
Which, I mean... In a sense, I think that we kind of have a...
It was just like... It was small. And so the fact that at the ending, like you said, it just didn't land so well. Yeah. Because it didn't feel like there was any chemistry.
She also said that she wasn't... She said that it looked gorgeous. Like, agreed with that. But she kept telling me that she didn't want to watch it anymore. Like, over and over.
She was talking during the movie?
She just, like, whispered it. Like, twice.
Dude, that's not great. That's bad.
Don't worry.
You talk about movie etiquette too.
Oh, that's true. Only said it like twice.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just the standards. That's all.
But we gave this a 4 out of 5, and then I saw her letterbox score for it. It was like a 2. But I'm like, I respect it. Honestly, like if you hated it, I guess I get it. Like, but what did you guys think of Drop? What are we reviewing next?
I don't know. One of the Amateur or Warfare. One of those
the Amateur. It's the Amateur.
Okay, Amateur.
That's what's up next.
Wait, it's the Amateur or Amateur?
The Amateur.
Why does it make it the?
Because he's the amateur. He's the guy.
Why is okay?
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yo. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching.
Like, comment, subscribe down below.
Please do tell us what you thought of Drop. And again, thank you so much for
and first date experiences.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. Please do.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We're both very curious. Yeah. We'll see you next time.